Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop. So in this video we're going to do something fun today, just take a little quick interesting look at some of this stock right here. Now I have been told that this is called spline stock. It's kind of like a spline, you'd put gears on this and things. It's basically a form of shafting, if you will. Yeah, so it's got like 6 different flutes to it. You guys can't see it on the video up here. We'll be getting into it when we get a lot closer. But it's got 6 different flutes on it in like these little lands or these like flat areas. And so this is going to make some really interesting twists. The purpose of this video isn't so much that you got to have this type of stock to do it, but you may be interested to find that you can find a lot of this type stuff at junkyards and things that are just different shapes of steel that otherwise you might just pass over because it's not a round or a square, that might make interesting results in your ironworks. So sometimes it's worth picking up oddball, odds and ends things at a scrapyard or things like that. So hopefully this video will help get your creative juices flowing, so to speak. And yeah, let's get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing heated up, and we'll do our first little bit of a twist on this thing. Alrighty, so first things first, we're going to take this piece, we've got it really good and hot here. We're going to go ahead and lock off about an inch and a quarter of material into the stock. We're going to end up forging on that later anyhow, so it's good so we can actually do this. And then we're just going to go ahead and twist, like you see here. Now, I would say that you may want to twist, use a pair of tongs, or maybe a pipe wrench out at one of the ends or something that you'll eventually cut off, because if you leave any marring on the splines, it's going to show up. It's going to show up down the road in your final piece. So just be sure that you do this in a way that can be inconspicuous if needed. So I went all the way around with this thing. That looks pretty tight. I'm going to go one more round here, get those flats to line back up. That's a pretty neat look. That's a fun little thing. So hopefully you guys can see how that turned out like that. It's a pretty neat little deal there. So I'll go ahead and brush this real quick. So you can see already, this is a pretty neat thing. Hopefully you can see that already. This is a pretty neat little stock. It can look like rope or cable if you're twisting it up, even though it's not. The tighter you twist it, the more it looks like that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to heat this back up. We're going to grip this a little. We're going to cool off the area that we don't need to twist, and then we're going to go ahead and bend this the opposite direction, or twist it the opposite way. So we're going to get an alternating twist pattern going. So I'll put this back in. So I'm going to take the end over to my quench tank. I'm going to cool the end about up to where we want it to start twisting back, or back twisting. I'll go ahead and grip it in the vise here. And now I'm just going to simply grip a hold of the piece, clear out on the end, and I am going to twist it the opposite direction, so towards the camera this time around. And that's going to give us that alternating twist pattern, hopefully. I want to make sure I twist it up tight and roughly the same amount of turns that I did the other one. Just like so. Alrighty. Now I will have to end up straightening this out using a wooden mallet, but hopefully you guys can see that look there. Hopefully that looks pretty good to you. You guys can see how that looks. I have to bring a light over here, make it a little more intense. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that good. There we go. So now I'll go ahead and heat this up, and we'll twist it back the opposite direction. Okay, again, got it nice and hot. We're going to cool off the previous 2 sections now. Lock those in the vise. Nice and simple. Nothing to it. And now we're going to twist back towards ourselves. That's all there is to it. You want to keep your heats nice and even on this piece as you do it, and then twist it roughly about the same amount of turns each time. And when I say roughly, I do mean roughly. I mean, it probably won't be perfect just because you're not a machine, even though you may think you are. But yeah, just as close as you can get it. And that is really giving out a really neat look, I think. It's giving quite the neat result. All right, use this here vise, we'll straighten her just a bit. Don't want to squeeze on this too hard with the vise jaws, because that could end up creating bite marks. We don't want that. Now hopefully you guys can see how cool that looks. So next heat, we'll be over at the anvil, and we'll start working on this very end here. Okay, first things first, I'll bring this out, and I'm going to give those twists a little bit of a straighten with my wooden mallet. Just get it straightened up. Once that's good, set that down. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw this out. We're going to set up some flats here and draw it down square on the end. We want this to kind of transition out of those twists into the flat stock here. Now, all those little lines that have got compressed there, they're gonna look like cracks and things in the final result, because again, they were lines and they're not really well together. But I want to take those up to a pretty high heat, maybe what would be considered a welding heat on mild steel. I don't know what type of material this is, but I want to take it up to roughly a nice bright yellow heat anyhow, that nice bright lemon yellow. And we're going to forge on it a little bit at a higher temperature to hopefully kind of blend those in. Because as we draw this down, we don't want to get any little splits, little stress risers that will start splitting when we do our rat's tail and turn that thing into a poker handle. So we are approaching what looks to be about a welding heat now. So I'm going to pull it out. That's a nice light welding heat, so hopefully that's all we need it to be. We're just going to draw this out nice and regular like with a nice long taper. So there we are. We're going to keep drawing that out. Now we'll go over the horn, or the bick, as some people like to call it. All right, keep drawing this out here. Thinning that out so we make a nice big loop out of it. We'll finish that up on the surface of the anvil to get it all nice and cleaned up right. All I'm doing right now at this point is just beauty work. We're just cleaning up the faces, planishing down the faces. So I'm going to give this a good brushing, give it a good stiff talking to. Getting all straightened right on up there. I do have to admit, I really like the way this looks. I think it looks phenomenal. All right, going to bend that and bend it around a hook. See that tip took a little bit of heat there. Got a little roasty. That nice and cleaned up. Go ahead and bend that away. Come over the sharper edge of the anvil now. Definitely bend it away. Use my mallet to drive it back down. And now, right on around we go. So we'll need to go ahead and get this hot one more time. You guys can see how this could already turn into really cool stuff. This could be a squirrel cooker. You could loop this on around. This could become a fire poker. It could be a roasting fork. I've seen a lot of different people do different things with these. The main point is how neat that twist comes out looking with all those flats. So again, just using the materials that may look a little bit odd or out of place, you know. Think of how cool something might look if you have like a round, and it has a flat, right, on one end, or you've got something that's like that shaped, right? Think about how cool something like that might look if you twisted it up, or if you flattened something out, or maybe you bent it around in a different direction. It might look pretty darn cool. All right, so I had to about roasted that end off to oblivion, so running my mouth, that's what happens. So my hook's getting a little shorter, progressively so. This little tail on the end is getting progressively shorter. Stop your yammering and get to hammering, Roy. Good way of preventing that, of course, is by, like, you know, I don't know, once things get this small, don't stand around talking to people. Pay attention to what you're doing. There we go. Now this is going to take a little bit of cleanup work. Probably throw that on a mandrel and dress that a little bit. Throw that back in the fire there, get it warmed back up. Go ahead and grab my bickern, or bick, well, as it's sometimes referred to. And now we'll get it over here and we'll go ahead and dress this shape in more appropriately where it's nice and perfectly round. So we'll make it slightly less than perfectly round. So I adjust it, and there we go. There, looks good. Get that off the anvil. Brush it. Use our wooden mallet to correct any bows that we have in the twists. Looks good. There you go. So you can see how you can make all sorts of different things. This could be a handle, like for a drawer pull, a lot of different stuff. So again, don't necessarily discount stock just because it's not exactly the size you're looking for if you're out there hunting up the scrap yards. So that's going to be it for this little tutorial, this little demonstration, if you will, of using this, what I believe is called spline stock. Again, if I can find a link for this, this will be down in the description down below. I'll hunt and search, and that way you guys have at least some idea of what this stuff is called. And that way maybe you can hunt it up at your local scrapyard or at your own steel supplier. So that's it for today. God bless you all. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.